Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from BDHJSJ and it says, "Am I the arsehole for ruining my cousin's wedding? I'm going to keep it brief because I genuinely feel like I'm being gaslit by everyone, but also maybe I'm not seeing my own role in this situation. In uni, I had a very brief sort of relationship with a guy on my course. I ended it because I felt like I needed to learn independence. I've never lived on my own. My mom and dad coddled me and paid for my expenses, cooked for me, did my laundry, etc. He was looking to settle down and I really wasn't. I wanted to learn to be on my own for a bit and he wanted to marry someone he could take care of. We went our separate ways, finished uni, got jobs, etc. My cousin got married the other day. The guy I was previously talking to attended with his wife. She also attended our uni and was on the same course. I wasn't really fussed by seeing them. They've clearly moved on and I'm loving life right now, having that independence I've been wanting. It's all chill until his wife comes up to our table. She asked me why she didn't see me at graduation. For context, I didn't attend our graduation ceremony because both of my grandmothers had passed away and it was their funeral. I didn't really care about missing graduation because I got horrible social anxiety anyway, and the thought of being seen by that many people freaked me out. She asked about my career. I told her that I'm in teaching now and I love it. Small pleasantries, you get it, but she randomly veered the conversation in a different direction. She's like, "My husband doesn't care about you anymore." I wasn't bothered at all because over the few years since we were together, I started to see just how toxic he was. He was controlling and he wanted me to ask his permission before seeing my own friends. I was not looking to start an argument at my cousin's wedding, so I walked away from them and sat at my other cousin's table. I don't know, but she found me again at some other point of the reception and it got weird. She was saying things like, "You're so jealous of us. You skipped graduation because you didn't want to see us together." I didn't even know they were together. I didn't bother explaining myself. It would have been pointless as she'd already made up her mind about me. I just nodded along as she ranted to me. But as you'd expect, it started to take attention away from the wedding. I decided it would be best to go home, and so I gave my gifts and left. But my cousin messaged me a few days later angry at me for starting fights at the wedding. I told her I wasn't looking for any fights and that girl had approached me every single time. But she told me it was my fault for leading him on in the first place. I explained it was a very long time ago. I was only 19 at the time and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, let alone commit to marrying a guy. Am I being dumb or is this actually my fault? Did I ruin the wedding? There's more I want to include, but this post is limited. Now, of course, absolutely, you didn't ruin the wedding. You did everything in your power to actually stop the arguments. You walked away from her. You left when you saw things were starting to, the attention was getting taken away from the bride. So I can only imagine at this point that this person who was trying to start the trouble to begin with is going around and telling a few little porky pies or lies, just trying to make you look like the bad guy, probably saying, she was trying to flirt with my guy or something along those lines. So I think I'd be asking cousin what she's exactly been told about this situation because, anyone seeing it from what you've wrote there would be saying, of course you're not the arsehole. The commenter says, "You didn't start the fight and you left, so it wouldn't cause commotion at the wedding. Not the arsehole. Is your cousin friends with the other girl? Because it seems like she's taken sides when she should be mad at the other girl for starting shit at her wedding." Opie says, "Yeah, they're friends, but I didn't know that until after the wedding." Commenter says, "Shouldn't your cousin realize that this person is making up lies when she's saying you skipped graduation because you were jealous of her and her ex being together? And the real reason you missed it was for your grandmother's funeral, because she could put together that your grandmother did die. And was this grandmother related to the bride also?" Opie says, "No, she wasn't. We're related on my dad's biological side, but he's adopted. It was his adoptive mum that passed away and my mum's mum. She did know about the deaths, but I don't think she knew it was when my graduation was supposed to be. Our families aren't that close." Someone says, "Not the arsehole. What is wrong with these people? I'd be very firm with everyone who had something to say. I attended my cousin's wedding and my ex's new wife behaved like an unhinged lunatic following me around. It became so uncomfortable I had to leave because she was causing a scene. I have nothing to apologize for. Opie replies saying, I did point this out to my cousin, but she's still upset with me and says I probably should not have attended. But I didn't even know they were going to attend or that they were even married. Someone says, did your cousin invite you? Opie said she invited my parents, but they couldn't make it, so they asked me to go instead. In our culture, it's considered rude if I don't attend on my parents' behalf. Commoner says, did she know you were attending on your parents' behalf ahead of time? Opie says yes. My parents already rang her mum to explain they couldn't make it, but I was attending for them. Commenter replies saying, in that case, your cousin knew who was going to be there and should have determined if it might be a problem or not and addressed it beforehand. You didn't have the information to judge that. I don't know why your cousin's friend wouldn't just ignore you for the sake of her friend's wedding. What a psycho. Opie replies saying I'm not sure if she even put that together until she saw us at the wedding. It was so long ago, and I haven't thought about it since it ended. But the wife is a bit strange for holding on to a year-long relationship between 18 and 19-year-olds. Commenter says, sounds like neither your ex and wife nor your cousin were actually mature enough to get married. Not the arsehole. Opie says, I'm only 22 to be fair. My cousin is only a couple of years older than me. And then the last commenter says about how the wife managed to locate her if Opie moved tables and says, I mean, it's an Asian wedding. There are at least 30 different tables. So Opie did come in with an update and said, I did end up contacting my cousin after reading through the comments on the original post. I waited a while because she was enjoying her honeymoon. It went better than expected, to be honest. She did start off by explaining that she was upset at the wedding because she felt flustered about having people fighting at her wedding. It was her instinct to stick up for her friend. I mentioned in the comments that my cousin and I aren't very close, so it might sound strange she'd opt to defend her friend over me. But it makes sense to me and I'm not mad about it. We pretty much squashed it and agreed that it'd be better for the sake of our families to just agree that there are no hard feelings and what happened, happened. Just make life easier for events like this in the future. I don't think about it anymore. Most of my reaction to the situation came from everything happening so publicly. Once I was out of the situation and had time to cool down a bit, it stopped bothering me. I wanted to clear some things up too. Some of you were confused why I would be shocked that the wife found me during the reception. I forget that white weddings are so small. There were between 700 to 1,000 people at this wedding, and like 70 to 80 tables, not including the bride and groom's table. It was a big venue, and my cousin's table that I sat at was tucked away in the corner. Speaking of, some of you were wondering why the cousin I sat with didn't say anything. She liked me in that sense. Getting involved just makes the situation worse, as we've seen with our parents, aunts, and uncles. And no, it wasn't a situation where the entirety of the hall stopped and watched. It was more of a situation where the few people around us were watching the situation go down. There were still people dancing, going to all the carts, serving foods, etc. Also, I don't know what side of the story his wife knows, nor do I care to know. It happened 3 years ago. I realize my account of this may be biased, so I take accountability for that. I think naturally we tend to only see situations from our own point of view. Then OP goes on to explain why there was a large number of guests at the cousin's wedding and says, this is just standard for Asian weddings. If you're not a close member of the family, you're not generally expected to give gifts. You'll just give a small amount of money to the couple, like up to £200 as a gesture of wishing them a blessed marriage. Commenter says to OP, as for why your ex's wife came at you, I can't help but wonder what kind of stories and signals she's getting from your ex. Maybe he idealizes you. Or maybe he tries to make you the devil and blame you for everything that went wrong in your relationship. Maybe he's telling her that you're obsessed with him and following him around in person and on social media. My jaw nearly hit the floor when it said 700 to 1,000 people at a wedding. And an OP said that the people will give him like up to £200 as a gesture of wishing them a blessed marriage. Holy moly, that's some money. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from the relationship advice subreddit from Dr. Anonymous 15, who says, my 30 male best man, 31 male, stole my wife, 30 female. and I think he's back to take my girlfriend, 29 female. What the fuck? 6 years ago, I, 30 male, was getting married. My best friend, 31 male, Judas, fake names to protect identities, was my best man. I was getting married to Leah, 30 female. Our friend group was very, very close, and there were 8/9 of us, and we always did everything together. Days out, game nights, holidays, etc. Anytime a friend would bring another female friend into the group, Judas would end up hooking up with them, as he was genuinely just naturally very funny and charismatic, which is a big part of as to why he's everyone's best man. But he was never a threat to our relationships because we were all such good friends. Just over a year into our marriage, Leah and I started having issues. I'm in the army, so I'm at camp through the week, returning home Friday evenings and leaving again early Monday mornings. This meant we only really got weekends together, and I'd always want to spend them with the group, and she'd mostly want alone time, just the two of us, as she will have seen the group through the week. This, amongst other things, caused a lot of arguments, and we ended up separating. While all this was going on, two of our friends, Judas' cousin Andrew, 29 male, and his fiancée Phoebe, 29 female, were 3 days away from their wedding day. Judas, of course, being his best man too, when Andrew confessed to Phoebe that he had been cheating on her with a co-worker for 6 months, so could not go ahead with the wedding. On what would have been their wedding day, a couple of us went to Phoebe's for drinks to take her mind off everything, and her and Judas slept together. Worst best man ever. Those two had always been very close, to be fair, but we were all very surprised finding out. They apparently drunkenly did it a few more times over the next month before deciding to end all that. While Leah and I separated, I'd still be trying my best to resolve things and work it all out, but she was slowly getting less and less interested in the idea of us. I later found out this was because she was spending all of her time with Judas. They'd gotten into a relationship, and he was basically living in the house I was paying half the mortgage for. Worst best man ever. When I found this out, I angrily texted him, "You're dead to me," to which he replied solely with an image of the word goodbye highlighted on a Ouija board. Naturally, Leah and I went through the whole divorce process, and her and Judas were happy in their relationship. Judas, Leah, and Andrew were all out of our little friend group. The rest of us went out to celebrate when the divorce had finalized, and Phoebe and I ended up hooking up. Fast forward to now. Phoebe and I have been in a relationship for 3 years now. Leah and Judas have split. She's now with some other man, and he's single. Andrew has gotten married. He actually made it to the altar this time. And yes, Judas was his best man. So who knows what's going to happen down the line with the worst best man and Andrew's new wife. Yesterday, I wanted to surprise Phoebe. I set off to camp early Monday morning like I always do, except I've booked this week off in secret. I waited for her to go to work, and then I came back to decorate the bedroom with flowers, her favorite chocolates, etc. I parked my car a block away so she doesn't know I'm home. When she comes home, I surprise her, but I see that she's on FaceTime. I'm 90% sure the face I see is Judas's, but she very quickly ends the call. Early in our relationship, she drunkenly confessed to me that she thought her and Judas would have ended up together after what would have been her wedding night, and that she was sad when he ended up calling that off for Leah. So my heart sank. She told me it was just her brother on the phone, but I didn't believe her. I'd also surprised her with a trip to Disneyland. She always wanted to go, in the near future, where I had planned to propose, but now I'm unsure if I should go through with this, if Judas has managed to worm his way back into her life. I need help. I don't know what to do. I've been at my parents' awake all night, and I'm dreading going back home to have a conversation. Do I confront her on this, or go ahead with a planned trip and proposal and feign ignorance for a happier life? I'm sorry this is long. I left it as short as I could. There's 6 years worth of drama I've tried to condense. I mentioned a comment on this relationship, but I think there's bigger things here. But obviously you have to have that conversation. You need to pause that proposal. You need to pause the Disney trip. Pause fucking everything right now. You can't even consider marrying someone when you're spiraling about whether your ex-best friend is back in the picture. It's just, you know, there's going to be all sorts of trouble down the road if you even consider going down that path. But for real, the bigger issue for me is that you all seem to be dating from the same recycled pool of people. It's wild. I was kind of lost by it at the end, but it just felt like everyone's hooking up with everyone else's exes, and you got this Judas guy who's just basically going around everyone. It just felt so super unhealthy to be doing this. I mean, it's just all so crazy, and it just feels like you all just need to branch out away from this group because it sounds all so enclosed. You're all so enmeshed with one another. And the top comment on this one says, "Oh my god, other people exist, you guys." Constant says, "I mean, you could have always asked to her FaceTime call list to see who was really on the call too. Then you know who it was. And that should help you know what to do a lot clearer for you. This whole group seems like a toxic incest swingers group." Wes says, "Somebody can only be taken from their partner if they want to be taken. But dude, you got with Phoebe. And dude, you ruined your own marriage by not wanting to be with your wife. Do you think she would just be your bangmaid forever? You all live in a small village where there aren't any other people around to date or marry." Another commenter says, "Friendship group incest is always messy. Why did you start a relationship with someone who nearly married your friend and then dated another of your friends, only dumping her to go after your wife? Did you try dating outside of this group? You're in the military. Don't you have friends there? I don't think you should propose and marry someone linked so closely to a traumatic period of your life. You really need and deserve a fresh start." Opie replied saying, "I did try dating outside of the group, but not properly. It was too soon after finding out about my then wife and Judas, and so it was more like spiraling down, if that makes sense. And then I ended up with Phoebe because she was there for me the most and going through something quite similar at the same time. I have a couple of friends in the military, but we're not like super close. A few were invited to my wedding, but they never showed. They're good if I just want to go out and get drunk and numb any feelings though. Not really the type to talk about feelings." And a commenter just simply says, and there was a couple like this that just said, "This is the most military thing ever." Is it? I'm really curious. Obviously, I always take comments with a pinch of salt. I never truly know until I go and have a look into things afterwards, but it'd be interesting to know what your thoughts are on that one. But OP does come in to update their post and says, "Didn't expect to get as many replies as I did, so I figured I'd reply to all here rather than individually. I've read all the comments, and first of all, I'd like to thank all those people who gave me genuine good advice. Secondly, there seems to be a few things I need to clear up. I'm from the UK. When I refer to camp, I literally just mean base. I don't have to stay there for the whole week, but it's a 90-minute to 2-hour drive back home. I know that doesn't seem far to you Americans, as you have to drive 2 hours to get off your street, but it's long for me. Nobody remained friends with Judas. I did put that in the original post, but a lot of people skimmed over it. Him, Leah, and Andrew all left the group around the time Judas and Leah's relationship was public knowledge. When I wanted to spend time with a friend group, Leah would have been there too, so I wasn't completely neglecting her. For those asking, Judas kept his teeth because I literally have not even seen him once since I found out. Another point a few skipped over, Judas and Andrew are cousins, so they were always going to remain friendly and take each other's sides. I didn't immediately demand to see her phone to check the FaceTime because I panicked. I went into fight or flight and clearly chose flight. Not really what you want from a man supposed to defend your country, but hey. And no, I don't know who Kel Knight is. Anyway, back to it. After leaving and going to my mum's, Phoebe had been messaging / trying to call, basically just asking to explain herself. I'd said I'd be back later. After posting on here and reading and replying for a while, I managed to get some sleep. I'd been up all night. First thing I did when I woke up was call Phoebe's brother, explain to him my plan to propose, purely so he could be the one to break that to her when I chose to leave her. I also asked if he'd been in contact with her recently. He said no, the FaceTime can't have been him then. I get back home ready with everything I need to say, ready to call Phoebe out on her bullshit, but before I can speak she hands me her phone, tells me I can look through, that she's deleted nothing, and that she'd like to talk and explain rather than shout and argue. There's nothing in the FaceTime call logs, but in her regular call logs there's a Snapchat video call from Judas. I was kinda relieved that I wasn't just being a paranoid mess, but obviously my heart sank. She said that Snapchat was the only place she could find him because he was in her blocked list, so she just unblocked him. Sounds to me like Phoebe was the one who'd gone looking to contact Judas. I read through a bunch of the saved messages on there. and to be fair, it was mostly boring chit chat talking about musicals. Stopped reading when I got to a message from Phoebe to Judas saying, "I miss you." Clicked on his profile to delete and block him for her, and saw at the bottom of that page when they became friends on there. It was dated just a week before, so they haven't been talking again for very long, I guess. What also caught my eye was in the saved pictures there was a picture of her feet. Phoebe claims that's from a long time ago. Apparently Snapchat still saves all the previous saved pictures when you unblock someone. Does anyone know if that's actually true? I'm not too familiar with it. Either way, I deleted and blocked him for her. She then explained that she only re-added Judas because she was always feeling lonely with me away 4 nights a week, and she just needed a friend. I don't know why our current friends weren't good enough for that, but whatever. She was making all the same complaints my ex-wife had been making before we separated. I've told her for this to work she needs to keep Judas out of our lives. I've told her I'll look for work outside of the army and leave. I'm a mechanic there, so I can assume I can find work in a garage or something easy enough. We spent the week together and it was fine. I'm now currently back at base and I'm deciding on if I follow through on that promise to leave and look for work elsewhere, or if I completely jump ship and literally just move somewhere else in the country. Probably still look for work as a mechanic somewhere too, start brand new, and not have my career keep costing me relationships. Thanks for reading and thanks for the advice. Any further advice is always appreciated. One of the top highlighted comments says, "OP, you are so desperate to not be alone that you'd rather tie yourself to a woman who's already fucked the guy who ruined your first marriage and is back in contact with him. Keep your army job, dump Phoebe and that entirely codependent incestuous friend group you have. Move cities and start fresh. No one should know you, of you, or anyone from this friend group from hell. Stop being a baby, sack up, and move on/away." OP simply replies, "Yeah, definitely leaning to start new and fresh. Thank you." And I felt exactly like that comment. I know it's very easy to say I don't know the full ins and outs of OP's life, but the alternative is what the fuck's going on in their relationships now, which is absolutely wild. I mean, she's already messaged him. She re-added him, what was it, a week ago, and she's saying that she misses him. Come on, man. The choice here is definitely not quitting your job to keep an eye on what's going on closer to home. Definitely not. For me, the choice is just getting away from this absolute shit show. But what do you guys make of this one? Holy moly. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.